Yes. Well, she was.
She was
modern day.
quite a character.
Go down to hotel.
Fascinating.
Yes.
She was
Yeah.
fascinating.
She had a mind.
In Fairhope, and then there was another one down on the corner that was Trump Motor Company. Well, across the street there was another hotel.
The Weston House.
Well, across the street from the Weston House.
There was a hotel
There was
there?
a hotel there also.
Yeah, I don't know. Remember that?
But that was back in the early 1900s. I heard my mother and father
Yeah, because I don't
talk
remember
about
that.
that. But
There were 2 or 3 big ones. The Gables, the Fairhope Hotel. Is the Gables the
Colonial-
same?
And then the Smith home was next to her, the Gordon Smith from Mobile on the Bayfront. Yeah, and there was a tennis court where all the tulips are on the park down there. Beautiful.
Across from Colonial Inn, was it?
Major
Yeah.
Hill.
And there was also
Major Hill used to give tennis lessons, and
Yes.
I took lessons from him. He was wonderful.
he was great. He played tennis up into the
Well, he played until he died, and he was about 85 when he died.
and Professor Nichols was another one that played tennis all the time. And he was our English teacher at the Arkansas School, Professor Nichols. That's Judge Williams' grandfather.
Yeah, I get this Nichols now. Is he connected with Marvin Nichols? No.
Martha?
Yeah.
Well, then her husband was
Marvin Nichols.
yeah, was Professor Nichols' son.
Right. Okay.
And so was
He was also
Lorena.
he was a brother to Margaret Gaston and Lorena Hoffman.
Yeah. So
That's all the Gaston side family.
Yeah. That's that connection.
Now, Evalyn, wasn't the house that the Calhouns lived in there on Magnolia Avenue?
That was the Hopping.
The who?
Hopping. And the Hopping.
Yeah.
And then Emma Hopping married Carl Blockson.
Bloxham. Yeah, I remember when the Bloxhams lived.
Now, the house next door going down the hill on Fells, Evie Gaston's house.
You mean on Magnolia?
Magnolia.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, well, that's what we're saying.
But the E.B. Gaston house was on.
That seems to be empty now. I'm very curious.
Yeah.
Somebody ought to
And Aunt Frankie
buy
lived
that.
in that house for a long time. She and Edna Damerel. And there was a wonderful woman, Frances Gaston Crawford. And so was,
Every Monday morning, she used to call everyone in town
get the news.
and get the news. And even if you had gone to Mobile,
It was in the
news.
paper.
That was news.
it went into the Courier. And that's largely what my mother's scrapbook is. You know, she had company from Mobile, or she went to Mobile, or they went to Pensacola, or
It was
someone came
the
over.
town crier for the social.
And our paper was just wonderful. You kept up with
It was so
everything that went
personal,
on.
you
Yeah.
know. So and I can remember when I had my dress shop, Aunt Frank and I went to New York to be so fine, and she'd always say, "Find me something pretty, find me something pretty." She Lolly Funk, Lolly Jower Funk.
Did she shop there?
Huh?
She shopped in your shop there?
Oh yes.
So she enjoyed when you got to go to New York and buy clothes for her.
I'll never get up in New York when, you know, big old tall me and all these go into the garment district where you buy, and all these little short Jewish men.
Yeah. They probably
Oh, they just loved me because I talked Southern, and I don't talk Southern. Because They just love to make me talk.
That's what Southern to them.
Evelyn, you worked for the city, didn't you?
I was apparently, I was secretary to Smith Ruby for 2 or 3 years.
I was thinking about that today. Gavin and I were talking about it.
Then,
And who was the mayor?
Howard Ruby.
Oh, okay.
And then George Morgan was city clerk, and he took sick and died, and so they appointed me city clerk.
Yeah.
And I was very important.
Gee,
Just
those
for
are
all of us.
Remember little Mr. Melville? He had that building where Verona had the colony shop for a while on Fairhope Avenue,
now
and then
health shop.
yeah, and then Bud Richmond's upstairs in that little place. Now.
Yeah.
And then Camper's had a grocery store where Price Furniture is.
Oh.
That was Mr. Camper's grocery store, big grocery store.
Uh-huh.
And years back, your daddy and mother had a place on the corner where the old
Well, our house was there.
hmm?
Our house was there. They moved
I
our
moved
house.
it back, but didn't she have a meat market?
No, our house was there. And in 1917, we moved the house back to where it was. And that's when
They cleaned,
Well, I
they
thought,
cleared
I
up
thought he
Fairhope
had some
Avenue
kind of a
for-
business on that
it
corner.
was before they moved it.
Uh-huh.
It was. Before he went and,
And there was a...
You know, it's a shame they tore that house down, and they tore our house on Englewood Villa. That was a beautiful old country-style wraparound porch, 2-story.
Yeah.
And we had 6 acres there.
You know they're gonna tear off.
Daddy had that whole block
Mm-hmm.
where the Baptist church is,
Yeah.
all the way over to Church Street, from section to church.
Now it's just solid
Nichols on
brick.
one side and White Avenue on this
I
side.
know.
And I think about, he cut that yard. One of those little moors that you pushed, went this way. And remember the hedges down the driveway? And he kept all those trimmed. And the north part of the lot, we had pecan orchard. We had a cow. We had a horse. We had chickens. We had a goat. We had strawberries. We had loganberries. We had a garden. We had a pool with fish
Yeah.
and a tennis court. We just had the best time.
Now it's all just cement and bricks.
Yeah. Because, you know, the last few years of Daddy's life, he said, I don't want to go by there.
Uh-huh.
I don't want to go by there.
No, I can understand. I don't
Well,
want
that
to
was
wear that
a
lace.
pride and joy. All those beautiful azaleas he had. And pear trees. We had persimmons, satsumas. We were sort of self-sustaining.
Mm-hmm. Well, there was like a Satsuma Grove right around there, wasn't it? Or was that just your...
No, we just had enough for our own. And fig tree. Two beautiful big fig trees. That was a lot of land.
Mm-hmm.
We had a riding horse, Pal. We had a wonderful time. We used to ride in the gullies on her.
Mm-hmm. That's pretty hard, getting the horse down the gully. And
Well,
back up.
you could get in on this side.
Uh-huh.
The high banks were on the south side.
Susie told me that she and Kenny once went they were exploring in the gully and they found some old animal bones of some kind and brought them back and we made Halloween costumes for them with necklaces of bones. Remember
Who
doing
said
that?
that?
Susie.
I wouldn't
You remember
doubt it.
Kenny?
I wouldn't doubt it.
No.
Remember wearing the bones around your neck for Halloween?
Yeah, found them out in the gully.
Just might as well find something to do with it.
Nancy, can I help? You can hear everything. You've got good ears.
Well,
Sure, I'm glad to see you up and out of that bed.
we're going to get that on tape.
Get that on tape.
that pause there.
yeah.
He was nodding.
I
folks.
didn't want to interrupt you. I've got my corset on and I got my
Oh, did you get
lumbar
one of your
pillow
back
inside.
braces? Is it one with Velcro? Gavin wears one when he plays golf.
Oh, I may interrupt you now.
No, well, let's get going. Where were we? We're walking down
We're down
Fairhope
on
Avenue
Fairhope
in about
Avenue.
1914. I
Oh,
think.
how wonderful.
We were-
I wasn't there.
See, we'd gone down to the,
I think it's gotten down, almost down. There was the railway running down the street all the way down.
It
We were
came-
down about at Knoll Park.
It
I don't
came up from the bay,
Mhm.
from the pier, Fairhope Pier.
But they hadn't been using it for,
Well,
I
they used
don't
it
remember.
until, I guess, I can remember, maybe I was about 8 or 9 years old, so
Mhm.
that had to be 1925.
pretty soon
I don't
thereafter.
remember the railroad track coming
and
to
it-
town.
They charged you 10 cents to come up, but you could go down for a nickel. Because it,
It was easier.
it took less gasoline. They had the little
That was
trolley
fair.
coming up and you went down to the boat in the morning.
Uh-huh.
And it went all the way out to the end of the pier,
Mhm.
And how far east did it go?
up to the center of town.
Center of
where
town.
the,
It was
Fairhope
called,
Section and
it was
Fairhope
called the
Avenue.
People's Railroad?
People's Railroad.
Why did they call it the People's Railroad?
Because it
Well,
belonged to
it
the people.
It was a corporation of, people, just a group of men, I guess, that got it together, so they called it people.
Who
No,
started it?
Mr. Patterson was the, warehouse manager down there, and, he ran the warehouse and ran the trolley back and forth.
So there was a warehouse across from the casino down on the beach. There was also a big warehouse out at the end of the pier. Remember that?
What was the place called the Tip Top? Where was that?
Tip
Tip
Top.
Top.
Kit Kat.
Kit,
No,
Kit
the
Kat.
Tip Top was, little,
hotel,
no,
coffee shop.
it was a coffee shop going out on the pier.
It was right at the opening, at the foot of the pier, you had the storage room and that.
And then it was,
Tip Top.
and then later on they called it something else.
I have a story
Do you
about
mean
that.
the one that
Okay.
the casino was here and then there was another little place? Is that was? I thought that was called the barn.
It was later on.
You know, Dad had a scar. I want to just a little bit about that.
I know, but you're not.
I want
No,
to-
he's alive.
Dad had a scar right above his knee. It was a long scar. At the time, I remember it was probably 6 inches long. And he would always say, "Kid, you see this scar?" He said, I got this when I was riding down a bike down that hill. And this was before coaster brakes. So the pedals kept going. And he said I was going as fast as I could down that hill, and I was going to ride out on the pier. And he said as I got to that opening, the train was there between the two buildings, and he said I tried to go between them, and I think he hit that restaurant, and that's where he got that scar, because he couldn't stop the bike.
I can remember when the
Full
the
tilt.
hill was so steep that the cars had a time getting up.
Well,
hill
not so
Beiser.
much that the hill was steep, the cars didn't have any power.
And
It wasn't paved either.
it wasn't
No.
paved, and of course, my mother was the first woman in Fairhope to learn to drive a car.
Okay.
And in fact, it was in the paper.
Uh-huh.
Mrs. Berglin has accomplished the art of driving. And she thought she'd surprise Dad and take the car down the hill, to meet the boat.
Uh-huh.
Now, did you have to have a license then?
No.
No. Now,
I didn't have a license when I first started.
And she hit that sand bed, and it's a wonder she didn't turn over, but she didn't make it down the hill. But there was a big sand bed right there as you went down at the foot of the hill.
Yeah.
And it
was that
stopped
near the artesian well that
Mhm.
was there?
right there.
There was an artesian well just to the right side when you went down the hill
Mhm.
by your daddy's place.
And I remember, the big wharf and the little wharf. There was another wharf to the north.
That
Nobody
was the
remembers
Berglins.
wharf?
No,
Well, it was public
that was
here.
ours later on, but, we built it here, but, there is still a small wharf out there, but that's not ours, that's closer.
The best vacation we ever had was that week that we spent on the pier. We
It
caught
was
fish for
wonderful.
breakfast. It was wonderful. And as I remember, it was a large structure,
Mhm.
and it was screened,
It
and
was
there were
a
cots there. We
livable-
slept there.
It was a livable house out there, in fact, in the summers, Paula and my father and I used to stay out there all summer.
Mm-hmm. That's
Built
like
it.
a summer vacation.
That
That was
was
when
the
you
fun.
lived down Summit, on Summit Street?
On Oak Street.
On Oak Street.
Well, my mother took a boat from Mobile on a Fairhope visit at a time or two. She grew up in Mobile, same era, and they stayed at what's now the Legion Club. It was the Mobile Women's Club.
Yeah, the Pine Eagles, they called it.
And it had like screened-in porches and
There was a
the
big
church
pier that
painted.
went out there.
Yeah.
Here, Lois, I wanted to clarify, you were talking about the big pier and the little pier.
Yeah.
Do you not mean the big casino and the little casino?
But it was a pier.
But I mean,
The
there were
best thing to remember.
two structures, as I recall, in the fifties, the little
The
casino
casino, I don't
and the big
remember.
casino. Do you remember?
And I think the pier Mary Lois is thinking of is your pier.
It might have been.
Now,
Didn't
my father
people
built
use it
that
for
in
public use?
1950.
No, not when
My
I
father was 6 years old.
1950.
used to be a gate up.
He built it when she was 6.
Because you own that beach property there, that
But it owned
park there.
Private property in
Mhm.
the city park.
Went right to the bay.
And now that's owned by the city, did you all do?
They finally bought it,
They
you know,
bought it,
but when we decided to sell it, we offered it to the city and they wanted us to give it to them. And Myrtle and I didn't feel like we could afford to give it to them. And, so we did sell it to a man from Mobile. And then, he wanted to put a little seafood restaurant down there. And they wouldn't, and he wanted to have gumbo and that sort of thing. And they wouldn't give him a permit to sell beer. And so, anyway, then in turn, he sold it to the city later on, but had to pay more for it that time than when we had offered it to them.
Well, who built the tiki down there?
The city built that
That
later.
they did.
Did they sell beer at those at the casino or at the dance places?
That was before, well, I don't ever remember.
I don't even remember anybody drinking beer.
Yeah, I was thinking.
If you had a drink, you went out to your car and had it.
I think I remember the big casino serving beer
They may have.
back in the 50s.
Oh, the dances
Well, they
at the,
probably did.
You would think they would.
the big casino was wonderful dances, and that big porch out the front, we'd get so hot, we'd walk out there and breathe the hitches like air conditioning. It's wonderful.
Do you all remember the structure that was on the water at Battles, the Battles Hotel?
Yeah, they're talking about that.
Did you talk about that?
Mhm.
Sorry.
And we've been
Now,
through all
that
the
had a
hotels.
nice little,
There's a whole lot of hotels.
that had a nice little pavilion,
That's
building
what- It had a
there
dance
too,
hall.
and there were dances there.
I've seen
yeah.
a watercolor of that, I think so.
That is, that was one of the favorite place for some of the Mobilians to come over, because Gavin's people came over there. He said that's where he learned to swim. His mother said, if you don't get out there and learn how to swim, I'm going to throw you overboard. And she did. And he said he swam. That was
the
a
way they learned in
beautiful,
those days.
that was a beautiful old hotel, really.
Uh-huh.
Beautiful old wooden structure. It then went downhill when what it was, the Princess Evelyn that went down? That got it later on from Mobile. When they let it go downhill, so it just deteriorated so terribly.
I don't remember.
And then when the,
Tell me a little bit about the history of the road that used to be on Seacliff and Aunt Sally and the Carpenter's General Store. Now, you all may not remember
The,
that.
I remember Aunt Sally.
fortune teller? Fortune teller Aunt Sally?
Yes, Sally.
Yes?
Yeah.
Tell me a little bit about that, because that's right out in front of this house, that road, that old road.
There's a road, but it was a day's journey to get to it.
No, that was too far to come from there.
Right along the bluff.
Right
Hey,
along
didn't she charge a nickel toll to go along that bluff down to the Carpenter's store? I had heard that.
I don't remember that. We always walked to see Aunt Sally.
Now, where was,
Did
she
she
had a
tell
little,
your fortune?
I don't remember. I was probably too young.
Yeah.
she had a little cabin up here somewhere.
Right here.
Yeah, and I'll tell you
On
who
the lip
bought
of the
that.
bluff. I can
Tom St.
picture it.
John bought her place.
Well, you know,
Remember
the
Tom St.
Davises
John?
had that cottage here before they built. At 9, whatever it is, 21 Seacliff. That cabin that Aunt Sally had, they had, and it was added on to. And the Frederick destroyed it. That was the last of that cabin. And there were a couple homes up here, weren't there? The Smiths?
Tom St. John is the one that owned where the Davises lived.
Okay.
And then, and he's still alive, I've seen him.
Who?
Tom St. John.
No, he's not. He's dead. Yeah, he was the secretary to the Hunter Land Development in Mobile. He died about a year ago.
Oh,
Mhm.
I didn't know that.
He was with the bank in Mobile. He married Gavin's cousin.
Mm-hmm. Hmm.
He married Hood. Buck Rock.
Mm-hmm.
He was back in Dash and Buck.
And up here there was the Johnson home and the Smiths, his sister,
That's Wendy.
Wendy
Okay.
Johnson. And that family home is still here. And that was about the only thing up here other than.
There was
Sal's
one
cabin.
home up here on Buck, it might be on the other side of the creek, that had the double roof. The house was built, and then they built another one up here so the wind went through. It was like to keep the house cool, air conditioned. I don't remember exactly where it was, but I believe it was about where Roberta McHugh's place is.
And wasn't that the Davis property?
Davis, no. Was it the Davis property?
There was Davis.
Yeah, I believe you're
family
right.
that lived up
I
there.
think that's right.
Because that was our severe weather, wasn't it? August.
Well,
When we came back and remodeled this house, Craig Sheldon came up and spent some time with me and he said, Kenny, you remember when our severe weather is, don't you? And I was thinking cold. And he said August, and he said, put a lot of fans in here and get some ventilation in this house. So that's what you're talking
Yeah.
about, is the ventilation.
Well, you know, that's a smart idea when you stop and think about it. Because your roof gets so hot and your attic will get so hot to have another, and so the breezes went through.
Mm-hmm.
And didn't your man that works in your yard do that to his trailer? Put a roof over the top
No,
of the trailer?
he was talking about that.
No, they did. The interesting thing to me is the way that those old houses were designed for this climate, and that people would go outside if they were hot and stand in the wind. Now, nobody wants to go outside. And
My
people can't
house that I'm
tolerate
in
it.
was designed for that. It's the hallway down the middle,
Mhm.
the breezeway. Okay. 4 rooms, 2 on each side, a front gallery and a back gallery,
Mhm.
and a little outhouse out in the back. And there was a pump in my pantry. That was the pump house. And you just open those windows and those ventilation
cross-
through every way.
Cross breezes.
Yeah, and when you do that to the house, the curtains just fly open.
Yeah, and they get kind of moist.
Yeah,
too.
they get kind of moist, and the fixtures all get rusted. That's when we decided we better air condition.
Yeah, it's kind of a shame.
That's the first
because
thing we did to that house when we moved in it.
it's a shame to
with
have
air
to-
You know,
conditioning.
you never suffered from the heat
No.
like you do now because we've become so accustomed to air conditioning, but back then, all we had were fans,
Mhm.
and you put them on the floor or whatever, but they
People
were.
came to Fairhope to get cool because it was breezy and you
You're
could
right.
go out by
But there was
yourself.
many a night when we lived at Englewood Villa, where the church, Baptist church is now. It was so hot up in that 2-story house of ours, and Ricky and I had the southwest room, so the afternoon west sun beat down on that house. And it was that the 2-story house is kind of like a story and a half, so the roof came down, so you put the beds up under that roof part that came down. I would get up and wet the pillowcase
Mhm.
and put it on my bed to cool myself.
And it still didn't work, I'm sure, but it was
I could go to sleep if I did that. But
I
there,
don't know how many houses were outfitted like a couple of houses down at south of the Grand Hotel on the boardwalk, but they have those special, out on the porches, they have, of course, they have the rain porches,
yeah.
and then they have the roofs that allowed this, recirculating, it would come in through the porch louvers, come into the house, and it would just sort of make a circle of air. The house itself was designed as a sort of a thing.
The old Blackshear home was that one.
Mm-hmm.
The one that, what was his name? That
Dahlgren?
burned down. Yeah,
Yeah.
Dahlgren's, and doesn't
Mhm.
have to burn, it was that way.
There are several that are still up down there that are built that way.
You see, I had the rain roof on my house, one of the last ones.
Oh,
And we closed it in and glassed
That
the
was a
porch in.
rain
That was a rain roof. That was an open porch, and a rain roof went over it. We still got the rain roof, but we glassed in the screen porch. There was a rain roof in front of the screen porch.
Well, do you all remember going over to the Sanger Theater and how cool it was in that theater? Now they had transpiration cooling. They brought in air over ice up in the roof, and when they sucked it down into the theater, and then it exited below.
Just read where New York is doing that same thing.
So we're just catching up.
Actually, some of the places in New York are doing exactly that same thing.
Huh.
Yeah.
There's just something about the way the world has changed, that the houses designed as they were for this area, you can sell that concept anymore. Mostly
See, I have 11-foot ceilings in my house.
Yeah, you have to have.
And
Well,
that was,
all the houses.
and my house is small, but you don't feel like it's really small because the ceilings are high.
And that's considered wasted space now. And it is harder to air condition that, all that sort of thing. So
Yeah.
it just doesn't really, it's not economical anymore. Used to be, you just opened all the windows.
And the way that worked was, as air expands and is forced into a larger opening, it cools. There's a Venturi effect of that cooling. So that's why those ceilings were high. It was more for the air coming into a small space and then expanding and give you a cooling effect.
Well, we certainly have been lucky to have lived in this area as long as we did.
Well, you lived through beautiful times, didn't you?
Absolutely. I guess my heart I'm pleased for the kids being brought up today, because it's not going to be like it was. I think you all probably lived in the best time child bringing up.
I think growing up in the 50s was wonderful. We really used to behave.
Evalyn and I had a wonderful time. Like, Evalyn always had a car available. She was about the only one in Fairhope that had a car. So she could get where she wanted to go.
How long did it take to get to the golf?
Did we go? Oh, my goodness.
You wouldn't take that
At
trip.
least a half a day.
Wow.
Because by the time you got there, you could only spend 2 or 3 hours, because you had to come back and it was dark, midnight by the time you got
And
there.
there was a little
It was
trail like this with
one
ruts
one
that
car-
you went to.
One car trail.
You had to aim for it in the night when your
One car
lamps
trail.
weren't working.
That's right.
Gavin says he remembers when his mother would take them down there, and she said she carried boards in the car. When they get out to the beach, she'd get out and she'd put the board down and she'd run the car down, and then she'd get out and take the boards out and put them this way so she wouldn't get stuck.
It's a lot of work.
You got stuck at least a half a dozen times
Oh, yeah.
every time you went to the go. There weren't any roads, so you just sort of had to make your own track.
Well, it's back in when Gavin and I were first married, and Daddy would go down. We'd take Daddy and we'd go down fishing, and we'd row over to the island and take our coffee, our little coffee can, and our little stick, and we'd row over to the island, and we'd go in there and we'd poke there. Like this was the hole right here. We'd put the stick there and do like this, and the fiddler crab would come out. We'd grab him and we'd put him in the coffee can. And we got the coffee can filled with fiddler crabs. We rode back and went over to Alabama Point, where the path goes through, and we're still good. There was soul in sight either way. We had the place to ourselves and fish for sheephead. And we stand right there and fish for sheephead for half a day.
Now, Helen, was there a road? Was 180 there at that time? How did you get down
There were just roads.
There was a trail.
None of the roads were
Trail.
even paved.
And as far as a golf course down there, that was all swamp and woods.
Yeah.
There was nothing down there.
There was a one car, and if you met a
There was
car,
one
you
old
just
hotel
kinda
down
made
there.
yourself a place to pass. But it was it was sand. You were driving in sand most of the time.
When you went to Mobile, you had to back up in places because there were ruts to go across to Mobile. And you had to back up to let another car pass you, if one passed you.
Well, now the causeway wasn't there.
No. 1927?
27.
Before that, you had to go way up around the river.
Yeah. I was 11 years old when the causeway opened.
I imagine that was quite a trip to get to Mobile.
1927.
Well, the only way was, by boat or
Or go up
at the head of
around
the bay.
Bellingham, the head of
And
the
that
bay.
was a day trip.
At
You went
least a
way
day.
up by Cabron and across over there.
Come a
did
long way, baby.
When did they pave the roads? in
Beg your
Fairhope?
pardon?
When did they
Pave?
pave the roads in Fairhope? Must have been
I don't remember.
in the 30s.
It wasn't
or
paved
right
when-
after the war. Or?
I think they started, in the.
Well, let
in the
me see.
30s.
It wasn't paved.
Was it a WPA project or something like that? Because I don't know
I'm
how
sure
they
it
could.
had to be.
Yeah, because how could they have afforded it? Wouldn't have been a palatable project.
Most of the little roads in Fairhope, not counting a section in Fairhope Avenue, were paved during the 50s. And the late 40s. Matter of fact, I worked on a lot of those with Fidel.
I remember when they paved.
All the fruit and nut section was paved back then.
I
Well,
can
that
remember when they
changed,
paved the road when we lived at 209 Liberty.
Yeah.
Gaston Avenue was
Yeah.
paved, and my porch, when they were paving and putting that red clay down, and the south wind would blow, it ruined everything on the porch, because it was screened, and I get that red dust in there, and I spent my life cleaning that thing till they got through paving that road.
I think they paved Fairhope Avenue, probably in the 30s.
I think so.
Yeah.
I always remember it paved. I always remember it paved.
Well, now, when I had my dress shop there in the corner of Church in Fairhope Avenue, across from Bill Baldwin, which was the old theater building, that was the tea-towel tea room, that Fairhope was paved.
Well,
And that was in the 30s,
30s.
because I graduated from high school in 34, and it was paved then.
But not out beyond Ingleside,
No.
I don't
No.
think.
In fact, I don't.
A lot of places, streets in Fairhope were not paved then. They did a lot of paving after we had moved, Gavin and I had moved into that big house that we bought there on Liberty and Gaston.
And all around there, I'm sure it was all dirt.
There were
No.
dirt roads.
School Street wasn't paved until about probably about like 52, 50, somewhere around there.
And I remember that was a red clay hill when you all
It
moved
was
over
fun
there.
to watch those cars slide around there after a rain.
Yeah.
That's what you did for entertainment.
We bet each other to do what car could make it up that hill.
I've seen pictures of the movie house in Fairhope. It's this brick building, the Fairhope Playhouse it was called or something.
Tile.
Tea
So
Tile
that's-
Tea Room, and that was a theater.
Okay, and is it where the Fairhope Theater was
Uh-huh.
then on the corner of Church and Fairhope?
Uh-huh.
That's in
Uh-huh.
Fairhope.
There's a
And
tea
see
room on
that-
the
that-
corner
But
and
Summerlin.
That west
changed it.
corner,
Yeah.
that is now
was the tea
Buckingham
towel.
Inn,
Yeah.
and that was where the
Tea towel, tea towel. What is
the
Well,
tea
Helen,
tile
didn't
tea
you all
room.
have, you all had an ice
tile?
cream parlor in there?
Gavin had, after I had the dress shop, I moved across the street to where the barber shop is and the
Yeah.
little dress. I moved my shop from that corner over there. He went in and had the ice cream parlor there, and made ice cream wholesale and retail, and beer and
In the
made the
tea towel
cones
tea
and
room?
everything.
In the tea room?
No, he changed it. I mean, see, I had a dress shop after the tea towel tea
Okay.
room closed up. In the front entrance, there was, you opened the doors and you walked up, and there were 3 steps up into the thing.
Uh-huh.
And there was a great big show window on this side that went into the entrance of the theater, so that I could display my clothes there, so that they could see it. Oh, we were uptown. And then when I moved across the street, Gavin opened his place there. And then when I got pregnant, I got out of the business. Sold it to.
The original tea room, though, I mean, we really had a nice tea room.
It was
We had
lovely.
Mrs. Wood, Mrs. Emma Wood, and Selena Minute Roberts
Uh-huh.
ran the tea room, and it was just a delightful
It was beautiful,
place.
lovely.
And the meals that they served was just dainty and wonderful.
They should have a little place like
And
that.
Mrs. Wood was Piney Gaston's mother.
Okay, fine. But that's the tea room, is this what you're talking about?
That was
The tea
what-
towel
That
tea
was
room?
the tea
Tea
towel
towel.
tea room
And it was, and in the building that the theater was in.
Mhm.
of the theater. That's
Okay.
right.
Very lovely tea room. Yes, I had heard about that, Joyce, Bishop and Claire Gray were telling me about.
Mhm.
And did their father build the building, or, you know about that?
Mr. Fuller built that building.
Okay, well, something to do with Judge Cotton.
Old
He
man
had
Fuller built
He
it.
had built a movie house and offered it to Mrs. Johnson the proceeds would go to finance the school, and she rejected it. But
I don't
that
remember
says it isn't true, but I don't even so far, I just
Yeah,
kind of want to
imagine
get
Mr.
that.
Fuller offering anything
No,
to
not Mr.
anybody.
Fuller, Judge Cotton.
Oh, Judge Totten.
Built a movie house, and it was probably in the 20s or
Oh, see, that was before.
before your time.
Do you remember that, Evelyn?
Another movie house.
No, because the main movie house I knew of, because was right there at our back door,
Uh-huh.
And it was Mr. Fuller,
it
wasn't
was
it?
Mr. Fuller.
And that was in the 30s, 40s. When was that?
That had to be, well,
2000.
in the 20s.
In the
Okay.
20s, because, see,
30s.
George, his oldest son, was in my class at school. We went through all
You
through
know,
school together.
I think you're right.
It was in-
Someone owned it before Mr. Fuller.
Mhm.
Maybe Judge Totten built that.
Yeah, I think he did. I'll
That,
find out from them again, because I gotta
because,
learn some more things
Craig
about them.
Sheldon, I know Butch got tired of listening to this, but Craig, and I don't remember, Craig used to say, every time I'd see him, he'd say, Butch, now that was my first date in Fairhope. He said, when we were about 8 or 9 years old, he used to take me to the picture. He said, I used to take Evalyn to the picture show. The first time I ever took a girl was to the picture show on the Evalyn, and I sat there and held her hand the whole time. And I know Butch got tired of listening to that because he told it every time
I didn't know Craig Sheldon was even here when he was little.
Well,
He
was.
ran away, you know.
Well, he was here though, and he said.
He beat his stepfather up and ran away,
I
thought
know,
he'd
but
killed
he
him.
was here when he was in school,
Mhm.
and he tells that. He must have made it. He didn't make it up because he seems to know.
But
what-
you don't remember it?
I don't remember going to the picture show with him. Maybe I had too many boyfriends. I didn't remember.
You didn't remember him holding your hand?
I remember Evelyn's boyfriend, George Steele. Your mother didn't like him. Tell him what she did. I think that's the cutest story about George. When
You don't
Evelyn
wanna
was at
tell.
our house and I was at her house so much of the time that we just were buddies. So she had this car and she was crazy about this George Steele. I think he kind of crazy about her too. But her mama didn't like him for some reason. Why, Evelyn?
I don't know.
And so she would take the car and she was going to go down to the Beisers thing. So she'd back up to our house.
They
So
let
the
me have the car to go with.
yeah, she'd get the car and she'd back up to our house from her house. Now where that corner of Fairhope
All the way over to the
out
Baptist
to
church.
the Angleside Villa and back up. So that she should go out and go by George Steele's house, and her mother wouldn't know she'd done it.
Going back.
I thought it was the cutest story I ever heard.
Well, you had to be a pretty proficient driver to do that.
She was a good driver.
No, you-
That was a
I
daily.
smell something that sure does smell good.
Well, good. What would you like to drink? We have iced tea or hot tea or more coffee.
Water would be just fine.
Water?
would be good.
What would you like?
Water.
What would you like, John?
I'll take some water.
Okay.
When did the theater on the beach start? Did you all talk about that?
Now that, yeah, that was,
You think you've gotten some good information?
We got one more question here. The theater on the beach,
Beg your pardon?
when the theater on the beach started, the beach you mean the beach theater movie? Is that Curtis Willard?
Yeah, that was our courting days.
That
Really?
was back in the, 30s.
Oh.
I thought that
It was the early 30s.
it was supposed to be a new trend, I'm sure.
Early 30s, didn't it? That was Stephen Riggs and what's the boy's name that's in electronics?
Curtis Willard?
Strozier.
I thought Curtis Willard.
Strozier.
Curtis Willard.
Curtis Willard.
It's really
Yeah,
good.
Curtis Willard. No, Strozier's too much, a lot younger. Strozier did. But they did have wonderful, and they had blowers, and they blew the mosquitoes away.
I forgot that. Yeah, I do remember.
Yeah, we
couldn't
take
do anything
that
about the rain.
citronella oil just in case the blowers wouldn't work. But that was fun, wasn't it?
Those
We s-
seats were hard. They had wooden seats.
Oh, they would see. I don't
Benches.
think they had any back to them.
No, well,
Just like
Yeah,
a
they did.
bench.
They had a back.
they were.
They did have a back.
Yeah,
It was a
back.
wooden bench back.
I remember the grass wasn't really cut, they couldn't blow all the mosquitoes
No,
away.
I mean, there were long
In our
benches
day, I
for
think
the
Yeah,
it's
people
something.
or-
everybody had to sit together, sort of
Yeah.
family style.
And you could sit as close as you wanted that way.
Oh,
too.
of course.
Sometimes it wasn't family style.
Yes, sweetheart, I'll leave over here.
I think one thing that everyone used to enjoy in Fairhope when we were growing up, our Fairhope basketball team, which consisted of Henry Bishop and Kirby Wharton and all the young men.
The town team.
They were the town team, and of course we played all the places from Mobile, like McGowan Lines and all the businesses over there. And we had our basketball games every Saturday night at the Cummings Hall. And everyone, I mean, your whole family went to the game.
Yeah.
And not only that, the whole family stayed for the dance. And from the time I was a little girl on up, my mother and dad were there and they were at the dance. But, you know, I mean, we
Little
were
kids
all
went
there
too,
and
yeah.
we went to the dances too. And the same way with down at the, oh my heaven, the same way with down at the casino.
The whole family.
The whole family went
Well, that's
to
nice.
the dances. And it was such a wonderful
Children with
family.
the parents.
Yeah,
yeah.
and old folks. I mean, there'd be 80-year-olds
Well, that's
dancing
like
with
they do in
3-year-olds.
Cajun country today.
Yeah,
That's,
that's a nice thing.
that is nice.
Oh, this was
Well, it's
paparazzi store.
Where's that?
That
Papa,
was where Colin's
Paparazzi.
drugstore was.
Papa
Paparazzi?
and Mama Rachi.
There,
R,
Where?
R-A, how did you say?
R-A-P-H-J-E,
Oh, right.
Raji.
Okay,
Some kind of,
No, it was a general store, and you could go in there and buy high-top button-up shoes and old-time dresses and
Anything you want.
and they had, and of course, on one side they had a little grocery store. The other side was a general store, and they sold everything.
Everything.
And one time,
well, that would be a huge sensation now.
oh, it was, he had a sign in the window, and I'll never forget this. He put it in the window and he said, "Get bread here," but it was B-R-E-D.
I remember that too. It was the talk of the town.
And
In
they
fact,
had,
I think Aunt Frankie even put it in the courier.
How did the Berglins move to Fairhope?
my father came here in 1896
A
from
year before,
Wisconsin.
it was right before it became a colony.
And, my mother came with her family from Michigan, and they met here. They didn't know each other. And they were
Now,
married.
how was your mother related to the Luciers?
Not really.
What was her maiden name?
My mother's name was Levine, L-A-V-I-G-N-E. But her mother died when she was 4 years old. And her mother had a heart condition, and she asked these good friends of theirs if they would adopt my mother. She knew she was going to die. And
Who adopted your mother?
the Bebolt.
Bebo.
And that she came down here.
Oh, I thought they were related to, in some way
Well,
to
the
the Luciers.
Bebolts were related to the Luciers. But my mother really wasn't related to them.
And so your
She had no
grandfather,
brothers or sisters? Aunt Eva did?
She had 5 brothers, but the both Bebolts did not want her to know that she had been adopted, and so they told her father, or sent word or something, that mother had died.
Oh,
And
how
they
strange.
changed her name from Mary, what's her name, Mary Levine.
That's where Superman's name came from.
yes,
Yeah.
but what did they change it to?
To Eva.
Oh.
Well, that was strange. But I guess people did things like that.
Well,
So how did she find it
I
all
thought
out?
was a beautiful name.
Later?
She knew mother was French, and she remembers her mother dying.
She does remember?
And she knew she had been adopted, but these people kept speaking in French. We took her early enough because she'll never know she was adopted. And
They hadn't fooled her.
She and my father were married when she was 18, which was 1900. And the adoption papers fell out of the trunk they were moving. And she had always been very obedient, and she wouldn't pick up the papers. And her foster mother asked her why she wouldn't pick that paper up. And she said,
I didn't know that
"Mom
story.
adopted adoption papers."
That must have been a real.
So then, by that time, after she and my father were married, she decided to try to find her family, which she did in Chicago.
Her father.
And her 5 brothers.
Oh, how wonderful.
And it was in the Chicago Tribune, a big, I still have all the clippings about the long lost sister. And the reporters got on the train and they...
Oh, that's in her scrapbook. You really have the whole history of your family. That is so wonderful. In her mother's scrap, did she keep a diary as well? Or? That's a wonderful story. Did you know your real grandparents at all?
No.
I mean,
see,
father.
Her mother died.
Right,
And
the
of course,
grandfather.
and the father, Helene had been born and then murdered. So that was, she took the 2 children to Chicago, so that had to be about 1905 or something like that, by the time she discovered her family again. But she remembered the priest in the church, and that's how she wrote to the priest, and his name was Marvin. That's where Marvin was.
Oh, that's nice.
And he's the one that told her how to get in touch with all of her brothers and from the Catholic
She was the
Church.
only girl?
So you grew up considering the Bebolt as your grandparents?
I didn't know. Never. No, and
Well, how were you related to the Mrs. Vincent, was it?
Vincent, no, that was my father's sister.
Oh, the late sister? Oh. She was married to Mr. Waterwitz? Oh, that was just a friend.
The yacht club, a sailor, Waterbuck?
Well, we brought him down here from Racine. He belonged to the Racine Yacht Club. And we used to visit at Laura, and he found out